What's going on, everybody? In today's video will be the first steps in making a carbon fiber airbox cover on my GT350. Alright, so in a previous video I showed you how I installed these louvers on the hood. Now when the hood closes, some of these louvers do just kind of open up to the airbox area. So what we're going to do is go through all the steps to make a carbon fiber cover on this airbox. So I was able to get my hands on one that another company made, but this thing's pretty rough. Not to mention it's not conducive to easily molding in any way, but you can see all the overhangs and edges. So if I were to use something like this, I would have to, cut that flange off, do so many modifications to it to make it moldable that, that first option kind of just went out the window very quickly. Like I mentioned, it's not conducive to molding easily. I would have to do so many modifications to it to make it my own anyways. So that's kind of one of the unwritten rules of composites, is like, don't just rip off somebody's part, make it your own first. So that's my only quick side note on that. So we're just ditching that whole thing. So what we're going to end up doing is bust out our 3D scanner. I did a video 3D scanning. A bunch of the white spray is actually still on it. I think it's getting all over my pants and my shirt. We're going to scan this airbox. We're going to scan this individual upper piece. We'll 3D scan the box, without this upper piece, and then 3D model our own, print it, mold that 3D print, and then make a carbon fiber part. So it's a lot of steps, but I think this will make a cool little part in the end that if you have a GT350, they will be available. When they are available, the link will be below. This video is coming out before I finish this whole project, so just look for that link if you're interested. So, like I mentioned, all the steps. Video 1 will be all the 3D scanning, if you're interested in the 3D scanning stuff. Video 2 will be all the 3D modeling and 3D printing of whatever, cover we design, and test fitting it, make sure it's good. Video 3, now a lot of people have been asking me about this. My carbon fiber videos have been doing really well. I made, the door right there. I think it's actually my most viewed video. The fender flares, even our diffuser I did a video on. But a lot of people have been asking me about a video, how to make the molds. So this will kind of be a little bit of a twofer, because it'll be a mold video of a 3D printed part. So that should be pretty neat. So that'll be video 3. And then video 4 will be pretty standard carbon fiber layup, making that final part. So now that I laid out, the rough plan, let's just go ahead and get the scanner out and start scanning all the parts that we need. Alright, so we're up in my office and I have the part on my scan table. There's something that I figured out is that if you crinkle up paper, these crinkles are actually features that the scanner will pick up. A lot of this white is just left over from other stuff I was scanning. The 3D scanner doesn't like black surfaces or shiny surfaces. So I'm going to start by spraying this with, I found this dry shampoo, works pretty good. They do make scan specific spray. It's a little bit more expensive. This I was just able to pick up at the local Walmart, so that's why I got a couple cans of this. So we'll start spraying it, scan it, flip it, and then kind of just repeat the process. And then in post-processing, we can put the two scans together to end up with a part. Quick note, I did take the metal clips off because I didn't want to scan with those metal clips on. Alright, so there you go, just enough to give it some color. I'm going to do the whole thing and then we'll come back with the scanning. Alright, so here we are, whole thing sprayed. I think we're ready to scan. The other note is these little parts are just 3D printed pyramids. Since I'm going to be doing a feature scan, there is a lot of features on this part that aren't repetitive. So we should be okay, but a lot of times it will lock on to these little pyramids and the part in a way that just helps the scanner keep track and doesn't drift off, and you end up with a better scan with more little markers around it. All right, before we start scanning, I'll talk about my scanner really quick. It is the RevoPoint Pop 2. I'll put a link to this exact one in the description below. Now that link is an affiliate link through Amazon, which means that at no additional cost to you, if you end up buying one through that link, I get a small commission for that sale. So it really helps me out. Now, 3D scanning is something I'm new to, but I have been able to get plenty of decent scans with this little scanner. But I'm also not like a seasoned professional scanner. But personally, I can't say enough good things about this little RevoPoint. For its price, I think what you get out of it is a really good deal. It does take some practice, especially while scanning, keeping your arm like steady enough, and how we just went over setting that up with the points, you know, and the spray and all that stuff. But you can get really good results out of it with some practice. So back to the scan, you can see it comes with its own software. And actually right now the scanner is looking at me. So look, if I wanted to scan my hand, I technically could. That's kind of funny. So what we're gonna do is set up our new scan. I'm gonna do high accuracy. The last one I did was a head. Effectively these, they do tell you exactly what each one does. They do have a dark mode. We're gonna do this one with features because I think it will pay off doing it a little bit more accurately. If it doesn't work, we can switch to dark. But basically each one of these, you know, a face scan gives you a little more of a scan area. Head is even larger than that. And then body gives you a large scan area. But the quality goes down with each one as well. So we're gonna try it with this. First of all, what I'm gonna do is grab the scanner. I'm gonna hold it near the part like this. I'm looking down here in this bottom right one just to make sure I look okay actually. Let's do that. All right. So at this point, where is my part? It's a little bit hard to see. You can adjust the settings. Oh, there you go. So just changing the brightness down here. See how much more we picked up of the part? Let's see, 3 even looks better. Now we're getting red, so we might be getting a little bit overexposure. So I think 3 looks pretty good. All right, so at this point, we're ready to start our scan. I'll do a little bit of it real speed so you can kind of see, and then just time lapse through the rest of it because it is fairly slow and tedious at that point. So this will be real speed. Let's see, so we'll try and start over here. I'll hit the scan button from the scanner itself. Looks like it may have just jumped. Okay, we're getting it. So now what I can do is just re-pick up on one of these points and continue the scan. And the scanner should know where I'm at. So if we go back to somewhere in this area with these 2 little bumps and the ribs or something, should be able to pick up the scan and keep going. So let's give that a shot. There, see how it just picked it up? And we can keep coming around. Oops. I'm gonna try and get more underneath here. Repause it. Alright, so we're starting to fill in the point cloud somewhat. So we're getting there. All right, so you can see the point cloud is getting there. We didn't fuse the mesh or anything yet, or clean it up. So right now it just kind of looks a little bit messy, but we'll finish out the scan and then I'll bring you back when that happens. I'll time lapse through it a little bit, but yeah, like I mentioned, it is a little bit tedious and there's no sound in time lapse, and I really want to put my air conditioner back on because it's hot in here. All right, so here's my scan. Doesn't look like a whole lot right now, but I have the important parts, which are this bolt hole here, this bolt hole here, the curve, and the 2 bolt holes, you know, around the air filter area over here. So now what we're going to do is hit the stop button. I'll take that off so I can show you. Manual, how accurate do you want it? 0.2 of a millimeter. We'll go with the most accurate, see what we get. So fuse the point cloud. It'll take a minute. So now that the point cloud is fused, you can see we have something that looks a lot more like a part, like we were shooting for. Now, the important things I need are this mount hole down here, the 2 mount holes, and at least some of the face, some of the face around this, and this additional mount hole over here. So what we're gonna do now is mesh quality, denoise. We'll keep the settings kind of high. We'll come down just a tiny bit, save some time. And we will get our mesh. All right, so the mesh scan is complete, and now you can see we have something that actually has some surfaces. Like I mentioned, kind of the important bits are, I might need to use this little ridge, because this little ridge right here slots into, we're upside down right now, but you know, the bottom half of the airbox on the car. I think we have, you know, enough of this face to construct off of to build out our CAD model, and again, this mounting point here. So what we're gonna do is export it and then bring it up in Revo Studio. All right guys, so here we are in Revo Studio. Now this software also comes with the scanner, so you don't gotta worry about any of this. It all just works together. At this point, we wanna cut away all the junk we don't need. So we'll go to clip. I always forget which way this goes. I think we keep the left. Yeah, there we go. And hit apply. So we'll do a couple big, we'll do a couple big cuts real quick. And then say you need to get in there and get, you know, just a specific area. You can do a lasso cut. Now the reason that chunk is there is because that scan got picked up from this angle. That may be a setting in here. Not sure of that one yet. Would be nice to get rid of all of it in one shot. All down here is the rubber seal from the OEM airbox, so we kind of don't need it. So we could just do like a huge cut. Something like that. And you can see how once you start cutting away all that stuff you don't need or don't want on your scan, you'll eventually be left with, you know, just the piece that you need. All right, so after just a little bit of cutting, trimming, you can see we have basically our finished part that we want. So then from this point, we can export this and, you know, model from it or off of it or do whatever we need to at that point. All right, so at this point, Like I mentioned earlier, it does get a little bit tedious and time consuming. So I'm gonna go downstairs. It will be pretty much the same exact setup as this. Spray everything. I might have to do that one in dark mode, but generally the same exact steps, and get it all onto the computer, and then we'll pick up from there. All right guys, so real quick, here's the setup on the car. I put a brown bag over the filter because the ridges in the filter are so similar, it could lose track scanning it. This is very tightly to the filter, so when I get my scan and I model it, as long as we clear this, we know we're good. Again, you can see that I sprayed the dry shampoo around everything that matters, and even a little bit past it, because we're going to need to know where this part of the frame is to make sure we clear that and everything. But otherwise, just like upstairs, spray everything white. There should be enough detail where I shouldn't lose track. All right, so what we're gonna do now is I'll do a little bit real speed with the scanner. When I was kind of starting this, it probably would have been a little helpful to me to see people do a little bit of like real speed or real time. And then we'll just kind of jump in towards the end because it's just like upstairs. Once you scan everything, you might have to do a couple scans, stitch it together to get your final scan. All right, so just like upstairs, there's going to be a whole new scan, high accuracy and features. I think we should be good. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick like a corner with a lot of detail, like this little notch in this corner and everything, and that'll kind of be my start. So I'll do one scan coming this way, re-pick up here, come out to here and around, I think is what will work for me. I'm going to adjust the light setting. A little bit hard to do left-handed. I think that looks pretty good. So let's start our scan. There's that mounting tab I definitely want to keep track of. Oh, getting too far. There we go. You know what? The scan's going good, so... Come on. There we go. There's that other mounting tab we need to keep track of. That little rim. So it jumped a tiny bit right at the end. So I'm going to go back just a few frames. There we go. And then, this is kind of hard to do with the trackpad. So there's our mounting tab, the other mounting location. Oops. You can see we're getting some misalignment on this back one. I think you can see that. So let me go back a few frames. Okay. It doesn't look too bad. I lost the mounting hole. So if you look, I have the mounting hole on this one right here, but for whatever reason, when it's scanned up here, maybe because it's dark underneath. So what we're going to try is just put a piece of tape under it. So now it might pick that up as a whole. So I'm just going to hit the back button. Oh, there we go. Okay, let's go from there. Because now we have the hole, and if I go forward a frame, it jumped for whatever reason and gave me a weird tab. There we go. So now we're going to try and pick up on this corner right here and go this way up over the top and see if it keeps track. I think I'll go this way. So it should just jump right to this. Alright, it knows where we are. Alright. Alright, so I think our scan looks good. We have all the points and edges I think we're concerned about. Alright, so now that I feel that I got a sufficient amount of points and data, everything I need, we're going to stop it. We'll just fuse the point cloud immediately. Alright, so now that the point cloud is fused, you can see how it looks. Looks pretty good. I think one area that was extremely hard to scan was all the way back under here. But I have this point and this edge, so when I 3D model it, there's a straight plane between the two. So right up here is where we're missing maybe a tiny bit of data, but I think that's fine. And now we will, you know what, mesh quality, I kind of want this to be as accurate as possible. Denoise kind of smooths out any weird bits you might have. And now it will generate a mesh out of all this. Alright, so now that the meshing is done, you can see we have a nice, pretty good, smooth part to work from. All of the important points are noted, or you know, on the model. So our mounting hole right there and there. How we're going to build our CAD model, we don't know, but that's where video 2 is going to come in. So if you want to see where we take this project from here, please hit that subscribe button, give the video a thumbs up. As always guys, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you in the next one.